everybody, I'm Tom Vasel. I'm a full-time reviewer, 43 years old, president of the Dice Tower, and I'm doing a series here on games that changed my life and games that got me to where I'm at today. Today we're talking about a game that has a lot of fans, a lot of followers, and I just picked up a copy and got it into the Dice Tower library, and that is Heroquest. Now, Heroquest was a game that kind of fascinated me. Now, this may be hard for a lot of people to understand today in 2020, but in the 80s and even early 90s, there was definitely an anti-Dungeons and Dragons wave that existed, and a lot of people I knew were definitely caught up into that. And so while Dungeons and Dragons fascinated me, and I can certainly remember the first time I saw different polyhedral dice, it just was like, what? There's dice that are not six-sided? What? You know, that was a neat concept to me, but I wasn't allowed to go anywhere near Dungeons and Dragons. But when my friend in the neighborhood pulled out Heroquest, a game that for some reason he had, I was thrilled. The front cover looked amazing. Yes, I understand it's cheesy as all get out, but it just looked cool. Here, these people were fighting for their lives in an arena, and when I saw the board could be changed, and each time you played the board it was a different scenario, I was just mind-boggled. And what this game did for me when we pulled it out is, in my neighborhood, the kids all deferred to me to learn the rules and teach the game, something that hasn't changed for many years. But when this came, I was like, ooh, somebody is in charge of the game. Somebody is the bad guy, the dungeon master. And I loved that role. I loved it so much that when I saw there was a way to create and design your own scenarios, I was on board. Bringing in stuff from other games, making up stats, adding new weapons. We played through the campaign, and I played through other things. And this was my introduction to role-playing games, although not really, but it was kind of a sidestep to role-playing games. But just the idea of getting more stuff, growing in power, getting weapons and armor, and going through, and my being the dungeon master of this game was not something where I was trying to win, but just trying to make everybody have a good time. And that was something that really, helped me out as a teenager and going out, was that the goal of gaming, which up to that point was mostly about winning. Yes, it was about having fun, but it was about winning. Cooperative games didn't exist, but here was a game where I was against the other players, but it didn't matter if I lost. I was there just to create a fun story and to create a fun time for them. And so this game kind of brought that home to me. It also introduced me to fantasy. I had read some fantasy books as a kid, but I didn't know a lot. When I look back at HeroQuest, I can look and say, wow, very cheesy, extremely generic. Not the kind of game that I want to play all the time now, but it definitely set the stage for me playing so many games. When I play things like Descent and other games now, or even role-playing games, I look back and HeroQuest is where that started. HeroQuest was a game that had miniatures. I had not had a game with miniatures other than the little tiny ones in Axis and Allies. And it had customization and allowed you to make choices from game to game. It's a fascinating game. I hunted down a copy multiple times in my life. When I was in college, hunted down a copy and just continued to go along. There's no question that HeroQuest definitely inspired me in many different ways and definitely changed the tenor of my gaming.